Next questions to ask, once you feel like you found a good partner, a good provider, are going to be questions surrounding the way that they operate themselves. Tell me about the systems that you use. Make notes of what they tell you. Is it Salesforce, or is it Propertyware or AppFolio? How do they manage their portfolio? Tell me about your team itself. How many people work for you? How do you operate on a daily basis with all of the renovations and rentals and management that go on within a big company? How many people do you have full-time on your staff? Tell me how you treat your tenants. How do you keep tenants in your properties? How long do you like them to stay? What's your average length of occupancy? That's a great question to ask. You might even ask, what is your average occupancy on your portfolio? And once you've asked that question and you get your answer, somewhere down the line, ask them, what's your average vacancy rate on your portfolio? And you understand you just asked the opposite. You've got an occupancy and a vacancy. They should match to equal 100. If they don't, you might have an issue with somebody being honest and truthful with you. You just want to ask questions based on, how do you operate? Will you call me as an investor every single month with an update on my properties? These are all questions designed to find out what type of integrity do they operate with? What have they done? Are they a stay small, keep it all kind of company? Or are they the kind of company that invests in people and in systems? Now, it doesn't matter yet what the price of their service is, okay? And trust me, it doesn't. Because anyone can be the low-cost leader and anyone can be the high-cost leader. They can be the most expensive or the least expensive. What you are really looking for is the value I'm gonna get from you as a provider. So I know I've got a good city. I'm now beginning to interview turnkey companies that can provide a good service for me, and I'm asking them specific questions to tell me, are you good? Are you a good fit for me, or are you not a good fit for me? If you're lucky, at this point, you found a provider that you really like. You found someone that you feel like is gonna give you a good service. Now you gotta find out, is the value behind that service there? Part of the way that's done is really twofold. One, you wanna look at the properties themselves. What kind of properties do you have? Where are you investing? I'm gonna tell you right off the bat, I throw this whole A, B, C, D neighborhood out the window. And why? Because I can tell quality from junk all day long, okay? Cheap is a killer of rental portfolios, especially when you're buying passive, especially when you're buying turnkey. Avoid it at all costs. If the only thing you can afford is to get started with really cheap properties, and that would be $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 properties, maybe even in some scenarios, if you get up into the $60,000 mark, it's just not good enough. The reason is that these properties are purchased, they're renovated, and then there's a profit made on top of that for the turnkey company. They need to make money too. If they're pricing it so low as to attract you in as a buyer, as look how low this is, and they're using that low price to drive the returns up, as with any investment, the higher rate of return you're looking at on paper, the greater the risk is going to be. As a turnkey investor, I've been on your side. I have absolutely invested in turnkey properties in other cities around the country. I've interviewed many other companies. I've helped my family build one here. I can tell you that the greatest value of a turnkey company is providing you a very consistent, reliable return. And that's only done a few ways. You must buy better homes. You must do the absolute top renovation you can do. That includes eliminating as much deferred maintenance as you can identify. Replacing roofs, replacing all of the systems where they need to be replaced, fixing floors, removing trees that are going to impede with plumbing lines underneath the ground, checking in on foundations. If you know that there's possible foundation movement, you must do these things if you want to provide a stable and consistent, reliable return to an investor. Once you start doing all these things, what happens is the return to the investor on the backside starts coming down on paper. But what it starts coming down to is called reality. This is what it's really going to return. Now we can skip all of those steps, defer all of that maintenance to sometime in the future, show a higher return on paper, and then what do you get as an investor? Frustration. So I'm telling you on the front end, forget cheap. Cheap is the fastest way to failure in turnkey real estate investing. Price is what you pay, and value is what you get. a fantastic quote from Charlie Munger, and it's one that you must write down and you must remember.